either show and tell or sneak attack to cheat a giant fatty into play, those fatties being Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, which is particularly good with sneak attack, and Gristlebrand to draw a million billion cards and probably just get an Emrakul after that.
This deck was a Sneak and Show has been pretty popular over the past year, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, you see players in the Seattle scene like Corbett Gray have some success with it. Josh Ravage has a couple top 8s with it as well.
William Huey Jensen with a top 4 in Vegas.
That's correct. So you see a lot of people have success with this deck. It's kind of slowed down a little bit, as I think people kind of got tired of losing to it, so they have some unique answers. Heck, I'm even playing a card like Angel of Despair in my sideboard, so I don't lose the show.
Why do you have Angels in your Realms board? You can't even cast it. Is it for Aethervial? Do you really think you're going to get Aethervial to 7?
I have before and I will again. I have Magic Online pictures of it, okay? I was killing a lethal Deathrite Shaman with it, don't ask. Just don't ask. So you see Merriam's going to come out with a Finhorn Elves off of a Bayou that he searched for with Misty Rainforest. Hinkle just with a Scalding Tarn back and then turn back. And of course Merriam, you know, when you're playing against a Scalding Tarn deck, your thought basically is that the race is on.
Yeah.
Let's try to get this over with just as fast as I can because I don't want to face a big scary monster.
Yeah, and the problem with the Elves decks in general is like against these more combo-y decks, if you don't have a Glimpse of Nature draw, then your clock is like 2.5 turns behind there, like significantly behind theirs. And even if you do have the Glimpse draw, then it's possible for it to just get Force of Will and you die anyway. So it looks like sort of just explosive mana draw, you know, spew all my dudes into play and hope it's enough.
Just a bunch of goons.
Yep.
As you see just all those elves in play. Elvis Visionary, Deathrite Shaman, Nettle Sentinel, Heritage Druid, and Finhorn Elves to go along with 2 lands. Hinkle, I mean, a little under the gun in some regards, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power.
Yeah, 6 to 7. He's going to have to untap the Nettle Sentinel, but also the Deathrite can drain. So, you know, the math is a little shaky there, but it's about a 3-turn clock.
Yeah.
Once you know, put these 2 Scalding Tarn damages onto Hinkle.
Also true.
That makes it much more clear-cut, a 3-turn clock. And so Chaz Hinkle has 3 turns. Let's see if he can make something happen. I mean, this deck usually sort of, quote, goes off around turn 3, but in what way? You know, if all you're doing is show and telling like a sneak attack into play, or casting a sneak attack rather, then like, you know, that's not actually going off. You need a full extra turn for that. And like there's things where if you get sneak attack and Emrakul into play and you attack, the Elves decks can actually just like sacrifice 6 permanents and keep playing at 4 life. Sure. You know, you're not necessarily won from that position.
So now you're going to see Merriam cast a Greenstone Zenith for 1 for this turn. My thought is that he's on the search for a Wirewood Symbiote, but we're going to see Chaz Hinkle sacrifice Scalding Tarn.
It smells like a Spell Pierce, maybe even brainstorm into Spell Pierce.
But he can happily pay.
Yeah.
He's got nothing to be scared of.
Maybe 2 Spell Pierces?
That's a lot of those.
That's another possibility. I mean, I would assume this is just brainstorm from, you know, leading with fetch and then not cracking it, and then the way that this has just been ordered.
Well, if anyone can sniff a brainstorm out,
yep, there it
is.
is.
You, my friend.
Yeah, well sequenced.
Here comes 3 new cards for Hinkle, and it's time to set the game plan up. You see a Show and Tell, one of the cards that's drawn. You see an Emrakul. There's another Brainstorm over there. See if he has any double lands. You also see a Sneak Attack, and there's an Ancient Tomb. And he's also got a Lotus Petal in there too. So,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep, he's got
pretty good hand.
The double lands, the Petal, the Sneak Attack, and the Emrakul. So, and another Emrakul. Well, at least access to it for the follow-up attack to kill the next turn. Because you do actually need that. So it looks like Green Sun is going to resolve. But yeah, the first attack with the Emrakul, you know, Ross Merriam's deck doesn't deal itself a lot of damage, so they're not going to be below 15 all that often. Ross can actually just sacrifice 6, like, you know, a couple lands and a few dudes, go to 4,
and start to rebuild.
Yeah, and keep playing. You know, still have 4 to 5 power on board and still have a significant clock. So Chaz actually does need that follow-up creature on the next turn to finish things. But he does. I did see 2 Emrakuls.
So, as they say.
Yeah.
kids on
assuming
the streets.
assuming that's what he wants to do, it looks like it should be enough to take this game unless Ross does something pretty fantastic. And he does get the Wirewood Symbiote here, presumably going to bounce, the Elvish Visionary and make another mana, cast the Elvish Visionary, draw another card, go Gadget.
Time to draw. What does he find? It's a Glimpse of Nature. You're a little late.
Yeah, a little late, but you know, you have two symbiote activations, one on Chaz's turn and then on Ross's turn, so that wouldn't be too bad if he wasn't getting attacked by a 15/15 next turn.
So Merriam's going to come across for 3. He's going to pass the turn. So now Hinkle's going to sacrifice this Scalding Tarn. Going to go down to 15. See what lands he wants to search him. If he wants to search him a basic or non-basic, we'll search him a non-basic in the form of Volcanic Island. And he's going to present his deck over to Merriam, and he's going to have a pretty good third turn of the game.
Yeah.
You said this deck does go off on turn 3. It does have the potential to go off on turn number 1, depending on its draw. Would involve a double land and a Lotus Petal, along with a Show and Tell and a big monster. So, you know, it's kind of this interesting deck in that it has all these cantrips to be able to find its pieces, but, you know, it's just looking for these 2 cards to put together, but it has the redundancy to be able to do that. It really reminds me a lot of the Splinter Twin combo deck from Modern, except that it just doesn't kill you on the spot.
Yeah, and it has Force of Wills.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to get into that.
Being able to protect your combo for free is
well, I don't think
pretty
Splinter
nice.
Twin would be good if it had Force of Wills.
So another Brainstorm, why not? You might as well get a little deeper in your deck, make sure that you have all of the resources. You know, because what if he hit another Petal on a Gristlebrand and he could kill right away? And he knows exactly what he's doing next turn anyway. He doesn't need that Brainstorm. The game's not going long. It's not a grindy matchup, so no real reason not to cast this Brainstorm here. And here we go, as they say. Let's see what sort of, I guess, what 6 permanents Ross is going to sacrifice is what we're waiting to see.
So Hinkle slides that Overgrown Tomb over. He's going to slide the Show and Tell over too. I think, again, you know, the other thing that he could do here is he could actually Show and Tell into play the Sneak Attack if he wants to.
Well, he saves a mana that way, which would be good if he had the Gristlebrand follow-up, because that would be the 1 mana difference.
He's not playing Ancient Tomb, so he might be doing...
Yeah, so this looks like a Show and Tell.
Going to search out that 3rd Volcanic Island and go down to 14.
I'm pretty sure you just need to make Ross sacrifice 6 permanents.
Well, I think you definitely are going... Emrakul should be going sideways and eating a whole bunch of spaghetti this turn.
Yes.
I think that's what's going to be happening. I just think that he's going to Show and Tell.
Rather than take 2 damage from the Ancient Tomb.
His Life Total might actually end up mattering.
No, I agree. That is definitely a reasonable line. And it looks like he does have... I couldn't tell if that was a Force of Will or a Misdirection. Obviously, Force of Will, quite good. Misdirection, pretty dead.
Yeah.
So that's an important one.
Now there is your Sneak Attack, excuse me.
See, that is another permanent that Ross can sacrifice.
That's true. And that may actually come back to hurt Hinkle here.
Because
so now there's your Emrakul, and here's your Annihilator 6.
Yep. The fact that he has an extra land to sacrifice means he's going to have access to more creatures, more mana, more things to do, and since his last card in hand is the Glimpse, his next turn could be potentially explosive now that he's going to be, you know, it's just going to be 1 more elf up, but that could be the difference.
So you see a Deathrite Shaman activation going to deal 2 to Hinkle. It's going to push him down to 12. And now you see Merriam deciding what he wants to do. Do I want to respond to any of this with maybe like a Wirewood Symbiote trigger? What do I want to do here to give myself the best chance to win on the following turn? Because if you're Merriam, I think your thought process is I'm not dead this turn, but I'm probably dead on the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like he's not going to be able to have all of the pieces to go off. Looks like he's just a couple permanents short. So now he has to figure out, okay, how do I win now that I can't really like go off? And I think the best way, is just put as much pressure on as possible. You know, you have access to the Wirewood Symbiote activation, the extra draw from the 1/1, and you basically just have to hope that Chaz doesn't have another creature, a way to kill you the next turn. But we know that he does.
Unless he stacked his Brainstorming correctly, he should have another Emrakul in his hand.
You know, it's not the first Emrakul that gets you.
Oh, is that what they say?
Well, no, usually it is actually.
Yeah, no, typically it is the first one. Okay, got it.
I mean, like pretty much every tournament that Huey's at playing this deck, I always try and bird him because he's like one of the best players of all time, you know, and just a super awesome dude. So I've watched him play this deck a lot, and I've seen him multiple times like attack with an Emrakul, get the opponent to like 1 or 0 permanents and 4 life, and lose.
The 2 times I've watched him when I'm on a break, that's happened both times, so I don't watch him anymore.
Yeah, it's just insane how often that happens because the deck only has 8 creatures. I mean, it's got a Simian Spirit Guide, but it only has 8 things to really sneak attack in. So it's not always possible to be able to have access to 2.
So here's Noah's Visionary from Ross. He draws a Metal Center off of this. Okay. So we're going to bounce back, maybe?
Yeah.
So he's going to bounce back with the Wirewood Symbiote. He's going to tap that. He's going to flip over the Symbiote just so he knows that he's using it for the turn. There's your Nettle Sentinel. And he's going to smash in for 1.
I'm really happy to see Ross do that to indicate how he uses his Wirewood Symbiote. That's something that I do, like in Limited, whenever my creature's detained, I'll turn it upside down. I'll do that a lot. It makes the game state a lot more clear. Like, I don't like the people that sort of just move their Wirewood Symbiotes off to the side or like try and just remember whether they used it or not. And wow, Chaz didn't have the other creature.
I didn't know if you were going to notice that or not.
Did he shuffle it away with the Brainstorm?
I think what actually ended up happening is that he brainstormed, set his library how he wanted to, and then either he shuffled away the fetch land or he the Emrakul shuffle trigger may have messed up his planning. Because now you see double Spell Pierce for this Glimpse of Nature, but what he doesn't have is he does not have a big dumb doofus to kill Merriam with when he did have 2 Emrakuls at one point in this game.
That is so awkward, and he might even be dead in 2 here. That is a huge blunder. I saw the Emrakuls in his hand, Cedric. I saw them with my own 2 eyes. It's not like he needed to keep those Spell Pierces around against the Elves deck,
Merriam's going to draw a card here. He has the Gaia's Cradle at added 4 mana. 1 green makes it 3 for Glimpse. Spell Pierce, pay, makes it 1. Can't pay for the other one. So now you have a oh, is he tricking us? He tricked me.
The Ambush Spirit Guide.
He tricked me really good.
The classic, we see this in Legacy all the time. The Ambushing Spirit Guide, taking down the Wirewood Symbiote. This is just ABC, Cedric. Happens all the time.
Oddly enough, Merriam has another symbiote in his hand, so this one is going to get eaten alive by the ape. You see Chaz Hinkle put his hands up and said, I'm cardless. I'm looking to peel.
Yeah.
And a lot of good peels available. You have Brainstorm Ponder, all the cantrips, plus all 8 of the creatures. So,
God, that is so awkward. I can't get over it.
Here's Elvis Visionary going to untap the Sentinel.
Another Visionary. Why not? Trigger.
Hinkle at 9.
He's on basically 7 outs with a bunch of redraws. There's a redraw.
Good start. Brainstorm.
That is one of the many redraws.
Hit
Still
1.
on 7 outs.
Hit 2. Hit 3. Force. Ooh.
It's another redraw. Oh, no. That's a miss.
Oh, no. He's Brainstorm locked. He hasn't conceded the game. Oh, my gosh.
Unreal. He had the win. Either he...
I think he knows he made the mistake. Yeah, you see him right now.
Either he messed up his like putbacks with the Brainstorm. Well, I mean, he did. But either he like shuffled it away with the first Brainstorm, thinking that he didn't need it, not just like looking looking a couple of turns down the line and realizing he would need it, or he put it back with the second Brainstorm, assuming that he would draw it because he didn't have another fetch land. But the Emrakul, as you said, triggers, shuffles, and might have shuffled it away. One of those 2 things happened, and Chaz, I mean, that's a punt. He punted it away.
There's got to be a term for when someone hits him with Emrakul, makes him sacrifice 6 permanents, puts him at like 4 or 5, and then can't finish him off.
Yeah, we gotta. I mean, that might be. We might just call that Hueying, because I've seen the guy do it like 4 times.
Huey, I know you're watching at home. I'm gonna chastise him off the air. I will. I'm not gonna let that stand.
I've seen him do it so much.
Wow. Just shots fired here in the booth in Baltimore, Maryland, which I believe is Huey's hometown. You're just firing bullets at his hometown. All right. We're going to take a look at the side.
I'm actually about to go like spend 3 weeks in Vegas with him.
Yeah, well, you were going to spend 3 weeks with him. Get you a nice hotel at the Imperial Palace.
The dungeon.
Yeah. Chaz Hinkle's sideboard, 4 Leyline of Sanctity, 2 Echoing Truth, 2 Blood Moon, 2 Pyroclasm, 2 Through the Breach, 2 Red Elemental Blast, and 1 Caracas. We're looking at 2 Pyroclasms for sure. The rest is up for debate, but we will certainly find out.
Yeah, Pyroclasm, just to sort of break up the setup, and once you can do that, you also have like the Force of Wills for the glimpses proper, so then they're sort of out on the beatdown plan, as you saw there, and a Pyroclasm really just not only completely crushes the clock, but also any of the sort of draw engines you have going with the, the Wirewood Symbiote Elvish Visionary combo, and, you know, the Deathrite clock, all that stuff. Just clean it up, get that out of the way, and then you have plenty of time to find the pieces. So yeah, those are very likely coming in. On the other side, Ross Merriam with Elves, combo Elves. He's got access to 6 discard spells in the form of 2 Cabal Therapy and 4 Thoughtseize, definitely coming in. A Dryad Arbor, a second Dryad Arbor. Normally for the Natural Order plan, which he only has 1 natural. Oh, he's main decking the Natural Order plan. Yeah. Interesting. I just looked right past that, didn't even see it. The Natural Order plan main deck has got the 4th copy in the board. With a Progenitus in the board. You know, main deck you're going for the Craterhoof Behemoth, but in some matchups the Progenitus is the more effective kill, the more resilient kill. But the Dryad Arbor, I actually like Dryad Arbors as many as you can get in your deck when you are on therapies, because you can turn a fetch land into the backside of a therapy.
Yeah, which is really nice.
Yes, that's value, my friend. So that's a good way to keep this pretty mana-heavy deck from flooding. And get extra use out of the discard spells, which really are the way that you're going to beat these decks. You know, he's got a Mindbreak Trap in his sideboard, which, you know, is an anti-combo card, but Sneaky Show only casts like 1 spell the turn that they go off, and Mindbreak Trap doesn't quite do it. So the targeted discard is exactly what he needs to have, and exactly what Chaz Hinkle's going to have to play through/around.
And that's the way that Merriam beat Prozac in that top 8 match at the Invitational in Atlanta. He boarded in Cabal Therapies and was able to snipe away while Prozac was kind of fumbling around with his Storm deck, and that's how he was able to win the sideboard games. You know, again, I believe that Hinkle's going to board in those Pyroclasms, and if he's familiar with Ross's list, maybe he boards in Leyline Sanctity, but I would be surprised if he did that. As you take a look at Chaz Hinkle's hand, he's going to be on the play. You see Gristlebrand, you see Scalding Tarn, he's got a Lotus Petal, but he has a Pyroclasm in his hand. Yeah, Pyroclasm, definitely a nice one to see in your opener, because if they spend a discard spell on it, it's not a big deal, and if they don't, then it's like pretty awesome for you. You know, I say it's no big deal because if they're attacking your Pyroclasm, they're not attacking, you know, your cantrips and your combo pieces. And this is actually, when you're playing against discard, it's actually one of those weird situations where you don't want your combo pieces in hand, you want the cantrips. And then find the combo pieces when you need them. And, you know, if you play your cantrips early, looking for a Gristlebrand or an Emrakul because you have the Show and Tell or Sneak Attack, then they make you discard it. Then now you're searching for the other side, and you get this like Benny Hill thing going where you're like walking through different doors, chasing each other, you know, the Scooby-Doo scene. So definitely another important thing when you're talking about cantrips versus the discard spells is my favorite card of all time. It's no surprise here, Brainstorm. Brainstorm in response to a discard spell, you get to hide your goodies and then redraw them over the next couple turns. Ponder, you can't hide from your hand, but like the thing that you want out of the 3, you can put a couple cards down to sort of shield your hand that way. But Ross Merriam's turn 1, just the Nettle Sentinel. I mean, he's got a glimpse of nature in his hand. You're going to see a Brainstorm here from Hinkle. Hinkle looking for a Show and Tell pretty badly here, as he does have a double land, and he has, you see Leyline Sanctity is actually drawn, so I think he's probably familiar with Ross's list and knows that Ross has Cabal Therapy. He's also saw the Bayous, which is a bit of a tip-off. Not a huge one because of Deathrite Shaman, so they're kind of a free roll, but Hinkle has an idea of how Merriam plays and what his deck list looks like, so now he's going to resolve a Brainstorm, and we're going to hope that Hinkle has a fetch land to kind of break away and not get himself Brainstorm locked. Yeah, he's got at least a Ponder, it looks like, so even if he doesn't have the fetch, you can use that as the shuffle effect. And he's got the, he does have a shuffle. He also has like the Leyline Sanctity, which is a pretty easy like put back, you know, and he's got multiple pieces of fast mana, you know, a couple petals and the double land.
So he doesn't need any more redundancy there. He's got 2 creatures, 1 Gristlebrand and 1 Emrakul, so he doesn't need any more redundancy there. And it's good that it's split, you know, not 2 Emrakuls, because then you're even more protected from therapy. You know, it actually needs to be 2 discard spells straight up. But what he really needs, as you said, is the either Sneak Attack or Show and Tell.
Just missing one more piece of that puzzle, and that's what the manipulation in his deck is trying to find. As you're going to see a Ponder cast after sacrificing that fetch land. So 3 fresh cards here for Hinkle to look at and see if he can find the missing piece to the puzzle and put Merriam away. I think right now, between the two, if he had a choice, I think he'd be much happier again with Sneak Attack than Show and Tell right now.
Yeah, for sure. And something that I have seen happen a couple of times, Chaz is actually like 2 mana away, one of those manas being a pedal, 2 mana away from just casting Gristlebrand, which is like pretty awesome. Chaz actually shuffled his deck. That used to be the way it worked when your opponent presented your deck back to you. You got the last cut. But he just picked up his deck from Ross and started shuffling it away. It's just like, what do I do now? So they're reshuffling, and Chaz is going to draw off of his Ponder here, randomly off. Oh no, this is post fetch. Yep. Interesting. So the full look, and he does see not only the Show and Tell, but also the Forcible.
No, he's looking at a Brainstorm. No Show and Tell. Brainstorm, Forcible Island.
That is unfortunate.
Yes.
If that was a Show and Tell,
I would keep it.
I would definitely keep it. But a Brainstorm, much worse, especially without the shuffle effect. He's used his fetch land and his Ponder. You know, he has nothing left to shuffle, so the Brainstorm no good. He's got to ship those, and now he gets a random card off the top.
That's correct.
I was just seeing into the future.
Oh, okay.
I didn't make a mistake, Cedric.
I understand that you would never make one of those.
Of course not.
You're perfect in every way.
Thanks. That's what my mom says too.
So let's see what Hinkle's mystery card is. See if he can be perfect in every way too, and find the necessary card to get this game over with. The best draw right now for him is Sneak Attack. But if he's able to find Show and Tell, it's certainly a very good start. So.
Yeah. Well, his best draw is something, and then with its top card being Sneak Attack.
Sure.
Protect it.
He draws a Volcanic Island, is going to pass the turn back. So
that's not going to do.
Let's see what Merriam's going to do. All right, he's going to start off with attacking for 2. Put Hinkle down to 16. He's going to play a Birchlow Ranger. He's going to untap that. And let's see if he's going to try to go nuts here. All right, so he's going to play a Thoughtseize. All right, so let's get an idea of what's going on. You're going to see a hand of 2 Lotus Petals, a City of Traders, a Volcanic Island, a Gristlebrand, and a Pyroclasm.
He shuffled away his Emrakul again. He had an Emrakul at one point, brainstormed it away in lieu of, you know, more mana. Like, do you really need the double land and both petals?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think Ross is going to take. Wow, I'm a little surprised at that. He's going to take the Pyroclasm, basically daring. Okay.
Daring. You were saying.
Yep, I was saying things.
You were saying something, Cedric.
Sneak Attack, Gristle Dad, draw 7.
If you don't find an Emrakul, draw 7 more. Find an Emrakul.
Oh my. 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, I mean, Ross could have prevented this, but at the same time, if Chaz just, yeah, there it is. If Chaz just untapped and played a Pyroclasm, then Ross like doesn't have anything else. He's only got like 1 land. Whereas if Chaz bricks for 1 turn, Ross actually has an explosive glimpse turn coming up, an actual double glimpse turn, I believe it was, which would have put him really far ahead. He would have drawn into more discard spells and really torn apart Chaz's hand. But Chaz peels would have essentially a 4-outer there.
Yeah.
And takes down game 2. But we saw the blunder game 1, and we are on to game 3.
Oh, it's not over yet. It's not over yet.
We got another one for you, boys.
That's a pretty good draw step, though.
that was nice. That was nice. He couldn't even draw like a Ponder or Preordain or Brainstorm into those because like in the second pedal can't use it to activate the thing. And like Show and Tell isn't even game.
Yeah, Show and Tell's actually not even very good though.
Yeah, you look at a Gristlebrand or whatever, but they tear you apart.
It actually will allow, like, Show and Tell will actually allow Ross to like put another land in play, which I think he wants to do because he wants to just build the critical mass for that big glimpse turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Chaz Hinkle, not bad, my friend. Pretty good draw step.
Definitely.
Merriam, I actually think that he did probably take the right card with Thoughtseize, as you said. You don't want to be too results-oriented. He takes the Pyroclasm because next turn, his turn is going to be insane with Glimpse.
Yeah.
And
what are the odds? What are the odds?
Well, I'm not good at math. So 4 and something.
Yeah, 4 and about 45.
Which if you divide long division, percentage, move the decimal
11.
point.
About 11.
Oh, it's 11%?
About.
Okay. Glad you're here. You know, last weekend it was a real treat to have Matthias on because he's a math teacher. So he just made me look not stupid the entire weekend. It was great.
No, trust me, Cedric, you don't need any help looking stupid.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us, AJ Soccer, Cedric Phillips here in the booth.
I'm just burning bridges left and right tonight.
Right? Star City Games Open Series has made its way to Baltimore. You guys can join us on Twitter as William Jensen has done at SCG Live. Hashtag your tweet, SCGBALT. Huey, not terribly thrilled with your comment a few moments ago, saying that you were, quote, vicious.
Wow.
In your assessment.
Wow.
Not often you hear the term vicious, but
it's apt.
Here we are.
I accept.
This is you being it. Merriam and Hinkle in game number 3 here. Merriam going to be on the play with his mighty beard.
To be fair, the times that Huey, you know, sneak attacked Emrakul and didn't finish the game, he didn't previously shuffle away another creature to hit, you know.
Fair. Well, we'll see if Hinkle, I don't think he's going to make that mistake again.
No, for sure. And Ross is mulliganing, and I think I saw a flash of white in Chaz's hand.
Yeah, so he might have the ley line of sanctity in his hand because he did brainstorm into one last game.
Yeah.
So he does have those in because, you know, it's obvious that he's familiar with Merriam's list, and Merriam has Thoughtseize and Cabal Therapy access.
Yeah, and having that sanctity, you know, on turn 0 just gives you really free reign. You can play your cantrips openly. You don't have to play around any discard with your brainstorms. You don't have to hide stuff with Ponder. You can just take the best card and shuffle the crap away. You know, you don't have to be fancy. You can just be like, all right, let's find the pieces and do this thing, you know.
All right, so Merriam's gonna take a look at his hand. Let's see what he can find.
There's a Thoughtseize.
He says, I'm good.
Before the game begins, Bing. There it is, and the Thoughtseize in Ross's hand is blanked. A quick look at the sideboard. Merriam does have one Kasali Pride Mage.
Okay. He's going to draw another Thoughtseize.
Another
dead draw. You see his hand of Nettle Sentinel, Virtual Ranger, Gaia's Cradle. So here comes. We'll see how he wants to leave this turn off.
This looks like a very mopey beatdown plan. I would think that Ross, and that's what Ross is considering now, is actually just holding his creatures. He knows he's not going to be able to kill Chaz in time, but maybe if he holds a couple creatures, he'll be able to draw a glimpse, get a big combo turn going. But yeah. Nope, he does decide for the beatdown
The
plan.
other thought, too, is that I can natural order into Crater of Behemoth and try to really just get you that way.
Yeah, for sure. You know, he does have access to 4 in his 75 of copies of the natural order. So that is a real thing, especially with the Gaia's Cradle giving you the mana boost, so you don't have to tap a bunch of creatures, so they can all attack after the Crater Hoof trigger.
Hinkle's actually pretty good, too. He's looking at multiple Force of Wills, a Brainstorm, a couple other cards here. What did Merriam draw this turn?
Therapy.
Okay. Well, if he could have... I think this is how he would have drawn it up as far as the sideboard game goes, which like some kind of beatdown and some discard.
Yeah.
Except for that ley line being in the way.
Yeah, that is definitely some forward thinking from Chaz. He did have those in game 2. Didn't have one in his opener and just shuffle it away, but you know, a very heads-up sideboard thing. You're not sideboarding for their main deck, you're sideboarding for their sideboard. And that is sort of the level 2, you know, that a lot of players fail to get to. So good on Chaz for the foresight there.
It's also good on him to know that, you know, it shows that he's paying attention to, you know, good players who do well in the circuit. He knows Ross Merriam likes to sideboard discard in his Elves deck.
Yeah, I guarantee you Chaz watches SCG Live when he's not playing. You know, he looks at the deck lists and is paying attention to his opponent's the little things, the mana. You know, he saw the Bayou and the Deathrite. That usually means the discard is coming post. So Brainstorm Fetchland here, the classic combination. The only thing that makes Legacy fun.
Yeah, yep, that's it.
That might be a slight, you know.
No one gets any enjoyment out of it otherwise.
That might be a slight overstatement, but you know, it's pretty close to how I feel. So.
Now you're going to see a Misty Rainforest attack. There's another Volcanic Island. Of course, Hinkle can search. He's out in search instead of searching for the basics because Merriam's deck does not mean wastelands in it. So no punishment to be had for searching out these beautiful non-basics.
And they are beautiful. as they can cast anything. They can activate the sneak attack. Like, you wouldn't think of double red being that important in these decks, but like, I've actually seen a couple builds that were like really heavy on basic islands, like to play around wastelands, and or you know, islands and double lands, and a couple times they had to like play sneak attack and pass because they didn't have the double red without the pedal, and you know, giving your opponent an extra turn, they can just combo you out or kill your thing, kill your sneak attack, or kill your red source. You know, a lot of bad things can happen. And Pyroclasm there. Now Chaz has got all the time in the world, not only with a clear board, but a force in hands, no pressure from Ross, and not even...
Simian Spirit Guy is going to put sneak attack into play. Again, no real punishment for doing that. Merriam's going to draw a wire with Symbiote. He's going to cast that.
Yes!
There you go. Someone's going to resolve, and Hinkle puts down the Gristlebrand, the Embercool 2 Force Wolves.
Still had all these Force Wolves.
Merriam's going to extend the hand. So Chaz Hinkle's moving on to 5-0. Ross Merriam shows the discard spells, but Hinkle has Leyline Sanctity to protect himself.
I mean, this is the drawback of playing a deck like Elves, right? You are capable of grinding a little more. You're a little less vulnerable to a lot of the combo hate, the dedicated combo hate in some of the other decks. But you're a lot slower than the other combo decks. You don't have the card selection they do, and